as you were speaking, I thought about the children who are sometimes labeled as bad and
Yes,
problematic and
yes.
difficult, how teaching empathy can make that shift because they can become more caring and feel better about themselves, as you mentioned. And that can reduce the behavioral issues that we might encounter in the school and also in the home with them.
Exactly. And I'm gonna take this because we've been talking about little kids. But now
Hmm.
let's just take this whole thing, take what you just said and make it work for the 14, 15, and 16-year-old. One
Right.
of my favorite stories in on Selfie is about Noah and Josh. Now, Noah was one of those kids you just talked about. He
Hmm.
never saw himself as a caring person. He'd always been bullying. He was suspended over and over again. The principal wanted to just expel him. And the teacher said, if you do, you will lose this kid. What are you going to do instead? She said, I'm going to befriend the kindergarten teacher. And Josh is going to become best friends with Noah, a 5 year old.
Wow.
Now, here's
Okay.
the problem. You push the big kid too fast with the little kid. He didn't know how to care. So this brilliant adult said, every day, instead of getting suspended, you're going to work with me after school and I'm going to teach you some things you can do to help your new friend because he needs to learn to read and he needs to learn that you
Hmm.
know how to care. So what they actually did was role model. Here's some things you can do, like how to show Noah that you're caring, how to be an
Hmm.
encourager, how to listen well. And every day after school, he'd go and work with the little guy. And then he'd go back to the teacher and say, this what worked and what didn't work. Around 21 days later, because this never works overnight. There's our big mistake. Parents go, well, I tried that. It didn't work. Well, you
Right.
tried it once. You got to keep going.
Hmm.
Around 21 days later, the kindergarten teacher took a picture of these two kids that was just, you're going to cry because it was a moment that
Oh,
you saw this transformation in this teen
yes.
where he actually was caring and bonding. And you could see it. The big guy went back as a teen and said, I never knew I could care.
Oh
I
my
never knew that I could make
goodness.
a difference. But the best thing was the 5 year old who went up to the teacher, the kindergarten teacher, and said, I knew he could do it. You should never give up on a kid, you know. Sometimes it takes kids a long time to just realize that they can
Oh,
make a difference. I mean, that's a 5 year old who
year old.
figured it out.
Exactly. Out of the mouth of
Yeah.
babes. Oh my goodness. That's amazing. What we've been talking about is so far as the emotional literacy, which is the number one pillar of empathy. You name nine. Can you talk about the other eight briefly?
Oh, I'd love
Emotional
to.
empathy is the foundation, and then after
Yeah.
emotional literacy, sorry,
Yeah.
and after emotional literacy, how do children build on this, building this
Oh,
empathy
thank you. And I
muscle?
love the term because that's exactly what they do. You build on the former
Right.
habit. So I don't
Mhm.
care which habit you start with. You should start ideally with emotional literacy. But habit number two is called moral identity. And that
Mhm.
is kids act how they see themselves to be. Empathy needs a moral rudder. So if kids have planted inside their head, I'm a caring person, or mom and dad expects me to be kind, ooh, voila,
Mhm.
they're more likely to be kind. So here's one quick little thing you can do. Just as soon as you're done listening to this, go ask your child, what do we stand for in our house? And if
Right.
your child instantly doesn't say, you want me to be kind, mom, it just means you're not tuning it up nearly enough. A simple
Mhm.
thing you can do is what one child told me. I love this story. Her name is Marilyn. And every teacher said, go interview this kid and find out how she became so darn caring. She's absolutely amazing. So
Mhm.
this child is now grown up. And I said, okay, every teacher wants to know, how do you become so darn caring? And she laughed and said, it was how I was raised. So I said,
Mhm.
okay, please tell. How were you raised? She said, I remember one thing that my dad did when I was 6, and it was so amazing. My dad had me and my two little brothers come to the family room. All the chart paper and marking pens were on the floor, and he said, we're going to figure out what kind of family we want to be remembered for, who we are as
Wow.
a family.
Mhm.
And
Mhm.
at that moment, Marilyn said, we sat down and we started brainstorming words like caring and kind and respectful and responsible. And mom kept writing them down on the chart paper until we ran out of room on the chart paper. And dad said, now there's too many words. So let's figure out the one word we agree upon. And that's how we chose the word together. We all voted for
Mhm.
caring. Our last
Wow.
name was Perlin. So she said, our motto became the Caring Perlins. I said, oh, how wonderful. How did you
Amazing.
remember it? And here's the best part. She said, my mom must have said it 50 times a day. Remember, we're the caring Perlins. She dropped me off at school.
Yes.
Remember, we're the caring Perlins. We do these high five pack. We're the caring Perlins. My parents said it so much, we became it. That's moral identity. We got to keep
Yes.
repeating it until our kids internalize it. That's habit number 2.
Yes, perfect, perfect. For our parenting group, I recommend having family meetings, and the very first
Yes.
meeting is to create the family identity with the family values. So parents who are listening, use the family meeting to create that and to make sure you instill kindness in your family dynamics. Absolutely amazing.